agenda, what we will be doing as part of this course, right? So this particular thing, 3-tier architecture we need to create. So first we will create a VPC and then the different resources. So first step is to create the VPC. Okay, so before going to that, we would need to understand what is VPC. Most of you were part of this course from beginning, and Rahul took it in very detail. So I know you guys have good understanding of this, but we have few new members. So I will go through this concept very quickly, and then we will jump into writing the code. Okay. So what is VPC? So in the cloud, we create our virtual private cloud. Okay, so you can relate it with something like, suppose you are living in a society. Okay, so in a society, suppose some society you are living in, and there are multiple towers, right? Here and there. In one of the tower, suppose tower 1, inside tower 1, you have your own flat. Okay, so this is your isolated space, right? Isolated space. Nobody can enter it without your permission. Okay, everything which will be done inside this, like if you want to manage your space, like you want to create a dining hall, you want to have a bedroom, you want to have a study room, so that you can design in that particular flat. So similar to that, in cloud is a very big thing, right? It can have n number of users serving at a given point in time, right? So if all are coming to cloud and they are not separated, then anyone can breach the security and get into others' space and do something. If suppose in your society only, everyone has access to each and every tower and each and every flat, then they can go into a particular flat and they can do anything. So that is kind of security breach. So similarly, in case of cloud also, we can have security breach if we are not isolating one with another. Okay, so for that purpose, the VPC is available. Okay, so it is a virtual thing. So it is named as virtual public cloud. Inside the cloud, you have been given an isolated place to do your stuff. If you want to create a Kubernetes cluster inside this, so you can create it. Okay, if you want to launch some instances, you can do it. On top of those instances, you want to host your application, you can do it. If you want to have a RDS database, that you have, and that is inside your VPC. Okay, so similar to the flat where we can have a study room, then bedroom, dining room, and all. Fine. So similar concept to that. So this is what VPC. Yeah, so it is virtual private, not public. It is not publicly. Virtual private cloud. I got it incorrectly. Virtual private cloud. Okay. So this is VPC. Then we have subnets. So suppose this is your VPC. So you can distribute it in multiple parts. Okay, so like your flat, in your flat you can have multiple rooms, right? So one will be guest room, suppose one is guest room, and one is your bedroom, and another is dining room or hall, right? So in hall, if any guest is coming to your home, he is knocking your door. Okay, if he is knocking your door, so you first check, like, is he something who can I give access to? Okay, so if you find the person familiar, then you give access to him, right? And if it is a guest, someone like agent is coming or delivery guy is coming, so they can only have access to the hall, right? They cannot go to your bedroom or your study room, right? And you can have some guests who are relative, so you will give them access to the guest room. And someone like your wife and your kids, those will have your bedroom access and in the study room and other rooms. So similar to this fashion, you can also create in your VPC different subnets. Okay, so these subnets, with these subnets, you can restrict someone how much access you can give to your VPC. Okay, so suppose if you are creating a subnets, then you can create it in two types. One is private subnets and another one is public subnet. Okay, so public subnet is something which is exposed to the internet. Okay, so a router will be placed here. Suppose this is our public subnet, so you can place a router here, which is called as internet gateway. Okay, internet gateway it is called. It is nothing but the router. As in your home, if you want to connect to internet, you install Wi-Fi that has the router. So similar to that, this has the internet gateway. Okay, so this is your public subnet. These are your public subnet. These your private subnet. So these are your bedrooms, study rooms. This is your hall. This is your guest room, suppose. Okay, so you can give access to someone to your public space, and they can, that from internet they can access this, and even you can go outside from this page. Okay, from this subnet. So this is how it works. This is just wanted to show you similarity between a Latin society. With this example, wanted to show you the VPC subnets and these things. Okay, any question from this you can ask. Okay, so I guess it is quite clear. Okay, let me see if some same concept in GCP as well. Yes, in GCP, Azure, everywhere. If you are going to Azure, the terms, some terms and some logics would be here and there, but everything is same. If we are talking about VNet in case of Azure, that is same. Okay, in case of GCP, I don't know what it is called. It is again called as VPC, I guess. Yeah. So there also the same concept is. Okay. So this is public and private subnets. Okay. So do not waste any further time. Let's go to console and see what is VPC. Okay. So how can we create the VPC? So from console, so I guess all of you will have the AWS console available. You all have created your VPC account, free tier account, right? So here, if you will go to this page, maybe there would be less number of resources available, like as per you accessed. Ruturas, if you are performing the lab along with me, that's great. But keep in mind that you would be able to follow me. Else you would get the recording and you can do that. Okay. So maybe you would have the less number of resources here because it only shows the recently visited. Okay, so maybe you have just checked the EC2 or S3. So those will be listed here. If you want to see all the resources, so you can simply click on view all services, or you can go to here. Okay. And the third way is you know what particular service I need to work on, so you can search in this bar. Okay, so I want to work with VPC here right now, so it is this one. So this is isolated cloud resource, and here I am clicking on, so virtual private cloud. Okay, and here you can create your VPC, so you will click on this. Then you will click on here. You can see that 2 VPCs are already available. So first one is the default VPC, which is provided by default in each of the regions. This is called as regions. So the AWS data centers are available in these regions. Okay. So this is the default VPC, which is provided in each of the regions in AWS. And this one is created by someone from our team from LWPLABS while showing the demo or something, because this is common account being used by all of us. So this is created by someone. Okay. So your VPCs, here you can see the list of VPCs. When you will be doing it for first time, you will get only one VPC, which is default VPC. Okay, this one, default VPC is yes, created by default. So now if we want to create a VPC, so we will click on create VPC and a form will open. Okay, this is a form where you can declare what all you want. So if you want to create just a VPC as part of this template, then you can select VPC only. And if you want to create a VPC and more resources like subnets and routing and other things, then you can select this particular VPC and more. Okay. So first thing you need to pass is project. Then you need to pass the CIDR block. Okay. So this is important. What is CIDR block? So this is classless IP addressing. Okay, so there are two terms in IP addressing. So one is classful and one is classless. So classful is like divided into multiple classes like class A, class B, class C, class D, right? So 10 series falls under class A, then 172 series falls under class B, right? So if we talk about class A, so 10 series is 10.0.0.0 series falls under this category. And then if we talk about class B, so 172.0.0.0, this falls under class B. And similarly, class C is 192 and all. Okay. So, but we are not interested in classful IP addressing here. We are interested in classless IP addressing, because in VPC, we are using classless IP addressing, which is CIDR. Okay. So that is what this CIDR stands for. And when we are creating anything, okay, privately, we can have the private IP ranges. Okay. So what are the private IP ranges? You can easily find here private IP ranges. So these three are private IP ranges from class A 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255, from class B 172.16.0.0 to 172.31.255.255, and from class C you can see that from 00 to 255. Okay, so these are private ranges reserved to be used in private network. Okay. Okay. Just a second, guys. Let me another page. Okay. Okay. So you do not need to remember it because it is easily available over internet. Okay. And now the question comes, what CIDR range we should go for, right? What CIDR range we should go for. So here he is going for 10.0. Like by default, it is showing this. So 10 series it is going for. But should we go for 10 series, or should we go for 172 series, or should we go for 192 series? So how will we decide it, right? Okay. So I would like to give you a chance. Anyone here would like to explain this, can raise their hand and explain it quickly. Anyone interested in explaining this? Okay. So I guess nobody has idea. Okay. Someone raised. Yeah, Ruturaj, go ahead. Let me unmute you. Okay. So you can unmute yourself. Yes, tell me. Yes, Rituraj, you are unmuted. Could you please? Okay, so I'm not getting any response from him. Let me mute him. Okay, so let me explain you very quickly, guys, because am I audible? No, you are not audible, Rituraj. Okay, so let me explain you very quickly. So in this particular range, there are so each is eight bits, like one octet. Okay, one octet is of 8 bits. So there are in total 32 bits, and in which these two octets are not changing at all. In if we talk about the class C, so 192.168 is not changing. We are only changing the last two. Okay, so these two are network and these two are for hosts. Okay, so how many hosts you will get is totally depends on this. So 8 bits here and 8 bits here. So these 8 bits will only change. Okay, so sometimes it will become, let me try it. So if we talk about 192.1, I'm just keeping the random binary. Okay, it is not like exact for 192. So suppose this is something like this, then four and four, and then this is suppose the first time it all will be 000. Okay, so these two octets, 8 bits, will be constant. Okay, this will not be changing. We will be changing only in these 8. So sometimes it will become 0, it will become 1, it will become 0, it will become 1. This way it will keep on going. So how many IP address we could get? So 8 and 8. So it is in total 16. So we can get maximum 2 to the power 16. Okay, 2 to the power 16. So how much is 2 to the power 16? Okay, how much is 2 to the power 16? Let's calculate. 2 to the power 16. Okay, so 65,536. 65,536 IP addresses we will have in this series. Okay, next coming to good, Puneet. Okay, then we are coming to class B. So how many hosts it will have? So in this case, we can have hosts from these two, right? We can have host bits from this 255 from 0.0 to 255.255. We can also see that it is also changing, right? 16 to 31. So this is also changing. So it can also have the host parts, right? So if we talk about this, let's put something randomly binary value for the 172, because that is constant anyway. 4, 6, 2. Okay, and then for 16, what is the binary value for 16? Binary value for 16. So binary value for 16 is 1 and 4 times 0. So we need to put leading zeros, right? So this is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then we have 0.000.0000000. Okay, now this also the second octet. Okay, it is also changing from 16 to 31. So what is the binary value of 31? Okay, so 5 times 1, right? So again, Let me put here. So keeping it a random value for 172, and then for 31, I am putting this. So 31 is 5 times 1. So we are putting the leading zero. And then for 255, everything is 111, right? Okay. So we can see from here that these two octets are changing from 00 to 255. Along with this, if you will see in the second octet here and here, the difference is the first 4 bits. For first 4, not bits, but byte. For first 4 byte is constant, right? But last 4 byte is changing from 0 to 1, right? So I mean this one, this part and this part. You can see it is also changing, right, from 16. So how much is in total? So 8 bits, then 8 bits, 16 bits, and then 4 bits, 4 bits. So in total it is 20 bits, right? So how many IP address we will get in this? So that will be 2 to the power 20. Okay, what is 2 to the power 20? Again check. 2 to the power 20 is 10,48576. Okay, so these many IP addresses we will get. Okay, and in this case, first is network octet and rest 3 are changing from 0 to 255. So 3 octets, so means 2 to the power 24, right? 8 into 3 is 24. So these many hosts we will get. Okay. So how many hosts? These many hosts. Not host, all we cannot have for the host. There is broadcast address, network address, some reserved IP address. So these many IP addresses you will get. Okay. So these are from these 3 private ranges. Okay. Any confusion, any problem in understanding this mathematical calculation? You can go ahead and ask in chat now, or you can unmute yourself and ask. Any question, guys? How will we know if any IP address is being used by someone else? No, so you are designing your like for your VPC, right? So this is private range. If someone in their own VPC, they are using their this IP, then that's not make any difference to you, because if you need to communicate between 2 different networks, then you will have to do it over the public IP, not the private IP. So it is your isolated space. And here you are designing your own network, right? Yes, correct, Srikanth. It is LAN. Okay.
Hi Gaurav, one question from my end.
Yeah.
I mean, if we get a request for creation of VPC, so how we can? Is this business can provide a VPC details? I mean, IP details, which how many is required? What? I mean, what will be the requirement? And
Yes. If you are working for a client, you are an architect, suppose for your company, and you are working for a client, then they will come up with the estimates, right? Like we will have this many number of hosts. So based on that, you can decide which IP range we should go for. Okay. So suppose someone has 1 lakh host IP addresses required, right? So then you cannot go for this one, because this particular will give only 65,000 IP address, right? So you will have to go something above that. So you will go with this one, 1,48,576, which is coming from this particular CIDR range. Okay. So this is how it is designed.
Hi Gaurav, I have small confusion here.
Mhm.
Like you gave the example of flat and in the society, and flat could be recognized by number. So similarly, VPC is recognized by IP address. Okay,
Yes.
but
Mhm.
two people cannot have access to same flat. Okay, so
Yes.
here also two different people cannot have access to cannot have same IP address VPC. So
Mhm.
like in Gmail, we have username. If
Mhm.
one username is already occupied, it asks me to choose some other username. But like in similar way, if we
Mhm.
choose an IP address and
Mhm.
if it's being used by somebody else, so
Mhm.
how will we know that it?
Okay. So understand from the tower and society example. Okay. So in society, there are multiple towers, right? And each tower, we can have the flat number one, right?
Yes.
So that is private to that particular tower. Okay. So in your VPC, you can have the same IP number, but when you are communicating, so if you are living in tower one and your room number is one, so someone is coming on the security, so they definitely tell that the room number is one, that's fine, but they need to provide the tower number as well, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how it works. So in a particular VPC, you can have an IP range, and in another VPC, same IP range can have someone, okay, but they cannot connect with those IP ranges. If they want to communicate, they need to have a public IP. Okay,
That,
it is private to your internet, private, sorry, not internet, network. Okay.
Gaurav, I think he's asking the question how to select the IP. So I think the best answer would be like we don't need to worry as in DevOps engineer for the selection of IP. We will get the range of IP from the network team for our use. It simply needs to raise the request to the network team and they will provide us the IP, which would be vacant. Is that fine?
uh no,
no,
that's fine if
I'm
we have separate
like
team.
I think Gaurav answered about subnet, but I'm talking about IP address of VPC itself. Am I correct? So,
No, so mhm.
you are
Okay.
you are also creating one VPC. I am also creating one
Yes,
VPC, and Ruturaj is also creating one VPC.
right.
So we have to choose different IP addresses.
No. Why? Suppose you are you are living in tower one. I am living in tower two, and Ruturaj is living in tower three. So can we have flat number one? Right? We can have.
Yes, yes.
So that's what it is. Those all are isolated units.
So
Okay,
like basically he means that like, so let's use like the Gmail example, right? So you have everybody can have the same username, but your password is selected to your own username. So I can have my own username as class A, you can have your username as class A, and someone else can have your username as class A, but your password is all different.
we cannot have same username.
No, just an example of what he's trying to explain to you.
Who is this? Rakesh, right? You are going into some other way. You are getting more confused. Do not go into username and password. That is not we are talking about here. Okay. So first thing I explained that how can you select a particular IP range, and it is not always the case, Chaitanya, where you will raise a query to network team, because that happens in a large organizations that we have separate teams. But in some teams, we can have the all responsibility on our shoulders. Okay, we can be a solution architect. Okay, coming to the Rakesh question again, I am trying to make you understand that these are private IPs. This is why it is named as private IP, because in your private network, suppose you are creating your office. Okay, you are setting up 10 computers. Okay, and besides you, I am creating my own office, and there I have set up 10 computers. So same IP range 192.168.00, suppose I can also use, you can also use, but that will be limited to your computers to communicate. Okay, but if you want to connect to my computers, which is in separate network, you will need to have a public IP. You will you will communicate over public IP, but internally to your computers, you can connect with those 192 series.
But
I have a, yeah.
there is no my computer or your computer, because we all are working on AWS, which is common. So how we are
Who told you this? From where you are getting this? I told you, right? In cloud, we have VPC. VPC is virtual private cloud. So this is private to you. Anyone else like Rituraj would have his VPC. Similar to offices, like you are creating your company, you are hosting your systems. The similar to like on-premise, you can create in cloud and you can host your systems here.
Gaurav,
Okay.
can I say something?
Who is this?
Ruturaj here.
Yes, Rituraj.
To answer to my colleague's questions, here we are not setting up the IP address to a VPC. We are specifying the range of the IP address, and it is a private range specific to our own created VPC. Inside this VPC, we can have multiple machines or multiple instances created, and each instance will have its own IP address. There you cannot use the same IP address to two different instances. There you will face
two different subnet, right?
no, not subnet. I'm talking about instance. For example, if you create a EC2 instance, and if you assign same IP address to two different EC2 instance, it will give you the IP complex. But you can use the IP range, same IP range for two different VPC. Gaurav, please make me correct if I'm getting wrong.
Okay, so
No, you are making sense.
VPC doesn't have a specific IP.
No.
Okay.
It is just a IP range. If I give you the example, if it is just like a segment on a network. You understand the networking terminology, like we have a LAN segment.
Rituraj, sorry to interrupt. We can discuss this in the end of session, Rakesh.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Please,
Thank you.
Please.
All
keep
right.
with the flow. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fine. Thank you, Rakesh. To make you understand more, I will explain you in the end of session. Okay. Okay. So going, So I was explaining you guys how can we select a particular IP range. Okay. So if we have a small cap company, like I mean to say a small company, then we can have this range, this particular range. If we have a medium company, then we will go for this. And if we have a large organization where many servers, like 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs, not only servers, like we can assign the IP to multiple things, right? So if we have the requirement of IP address more than 1 lakh or 2 lakhs, we can go with this range. If we have requirement till 1,48,000, we will go for this. And then for small ranges like till 65,000, we go with this particular range. Okay. So this is something which I wanted to explain you guys. However, it was already taken by Rahul, okay, in initial classes, and he explained to you guys in very much detail. So this is about the classes. Okay, so now when we are creating the VPC, we need to pass the IP address CIDR range from this. So suppose I am having a small organization, so I will go with 192 series. So 192.168.0.0. Then how many hosts I have, based on that, we will have the second part of it, which is after slash, which we put. Okay. So, so suppose we need to have, suppose how many? Suppose 100 hosts. Okay. And 100 IP address required. So in this case, what will be our CIDR range look like? Okay. So for 100 hosts, we will calculate with the help of 2 to the power thing. Okay. So we need to have 100 hosts. So how much will be the 2 to the power? How much will give us the 100 hosts? So suppose if I am doing 2 to the power 4, so what will be the value? 16, right? if we are doing 2 to the power 5, so it is giving us 32. 2 to the power 6, it will give us 64, right? Yes, I'm calculating right. 2 to the power 7 will give you 128. Okay. So if we need to create the 100 host, so 2 to the power 6 will not work because 64 is less than 100. So we need to go to 2 to the power 7, which is 128. So we have 32 bits, right? 32 bits in total. And in that, we want to have 7 bits for host. Okay. So we can have the 7 bits. I mean to say byte. 7 bytes for host. So we are left with 25 byte. This is for network part. Okay. So our CIDR range will form like this. Okay. So you can see that 128 IPs it is also giving here. Fine. So our requirement is satisfied with this. So we can have, if we need 100 IPs, we will go with 2 to the power 7 and minus that from 32. So from 32 bits, 32 bytes, we need 7 byte, which is for our host, and the rest will be network. In those 7 byte only, we will be changing 0101 and we will be creating our IP addresses. Okay.
Gaurav, why we are subtracting by 7?
Because we need 100 hosts, right?
Yeah.
So 100 hosts, how will we get? So if we are doing the 2 to the power 6, then we are getting 64. And if we are doing 2 to the power 7, so it is having 128. And we need 100 hosts, right? So it falls under this 128. So this
Okay.
7 byte, the 7 byte, we need to change. Like we will be changing, sometimes it will be like, suppose this is 7 bytes. So it can sometimes it will be like this, sometimes it will be like this. Okay. So we will be changing in the last 7 byte only. So this will give us 100. We are subtracting 7 from this 32, and the rest of the part, which is the 25 byte, we will provide it to network, because our need satisfies in the last 7 byte. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So that's how it is calculated. So this is 25 now. So you can see here that it is showing that 128 IPs you will have. If you want to have the IP version 6 CIDR block as well, so you can select, but currently we are giving it no. Tenancy we are keeping default. There is 2 kind of tenancies, default and dedicated. So in case of dedicated, something like resources will be reserved for you. If you are having default tenancy, then whenever you require, it will be available for you. This is how it works. Then number of availability zones. This is like, suppose you are running your services. Okay, let me create a new page. So suppose you are running your services in a VPC, okay, and suppose you have single availability zone. Suppose I am running in Mumbai, my services, and if I am having availability zone as single, like Bandra only. So if sometimes in rainy season flood comes, okay, and somehow if the data center is down, then our application will be gone, right? We will not be serving, we will not be in the business. Okay, so we need to set up our services, our host, our application in such a way that it is available 24/7, right? So for that purpose, suppose if Bandra is down, if we are having another service, another availability zone in Santa Cruz, okay, suppose, I'm not saying that Amazon has the availability data center in Santa Cruz, but just hypothetically thinking that one is in Bandra, one is in Santa Cruz. So if we have in different availability zones, like we have created in Bandra, hosting our services in Bandra and Santa Cruz as well. So even in Bandra, if it is flood situation, our applications will be up because Santa Cruz is not impacted by this flood and our servers is running from there. Okay, so this is what availability zone is. Okay, so if you check about these regions, there are multiple regions available, and each of the regions, at least 3 availability zones are available. Okay, so if we talk about Mumbai, so in Mumbai there are 3 availability zones are available, named as AP South 1A, AP South 1B, and AP South 1C. In North Virginia, as I remember, 5 or 7, right? If anybody remember, please correct me if I'm wrong. So it has 5 or 7 availability zones. Okay, so in each regions there are multiple availability zones. Availability zone simple means to make your service available in any disaster situation. Okay, so it is good practice to have multiple availability zones to host your service. You understand this, why it is? Because if a particular location is impacted, you will have the service running from the another location. Okay, so this is what availability zones mean. So yeah, yes, here you can see I am in US East 1, right? So it is saying 3. I have selected 3, so it is showing US East 1A, US East 1B, US West 1C. Okay. Even you can have 6 subnets here. If you want to have 6 subnets, okay, sorry, I was in availability zone. Now we are in subnets. You can even customize it. So yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 subnets, 6 availability zones are available in North Virginia region. So you can select any one of these. These are grayed out. It is not available to be selected. So you can either select US East 1A, 1D, 1E, 1F. So suppose here I have selected US East 1A, then I can, here it is 1B, and here it is 1C. Okay, so this way you will select the availability zone, then you can select the number of public subnets you want to create and the number of private subnets you want to create. Okay, so this is the template. Okay, this is what available for you to declare here, and your template, once you will launch, click on create VPC, it will create all the resources for you. So suppose number of public subnets 3, suppose number of private subnets I am taking 3. So it will auto generate the IP ranges. Okay, so you do not need to worry about what will be the IP range for subnets. Okay, so it is generating on its own. From 25 it went up to 28. Okay, why it went to 28? So that is another thing, that is subnetting. Okay, so when suppose I am taking 192.168, however, it is not required for our course, but for the sake of understanding, I am explaining this. So 192.168.0.0/28 is given. Okay, so we define 26. Why it became 25, right? We defined 25 here, but why it went to 28? It should be 25, right? But no, why? Because we are doing the subnetting. We are creating 3 public subnet and 3 private subnets. So in total, we are creating 6 subnets, right? 6 subnets. So to satisfy 6 subnets, we will again check with the formula of 2 to the power n, which is with which we will calculate what will be the CIDR for subnets. Okay. So suppose if we are doing 2 to the power 2, then we are getting 4. So 4 is not satisfying because we need 6 subnets. So now we can do 2 to the power 3. So it gives 8. So we found out, right? So 6 subnets falls under 8. Okay, so that is 2 to the power 3. So from VPC range 25, we will add plus 3 and it will become 192.168.0.0/28. Okay. Is this clear, guys? So that's why this calculation is coming in this way. Okay. So in this, you will have 16 IPs. Okay. If you want to manually calculate, so there is a calculator available, and there is a tool also available for this. Okay. Submit calculator, and then this is the best one. And this also provides a binary you can download. And if you have Linux or Mac system, you can, from the CLI terminal only, you can calculate the IPs. Okay, so suppose here I want to calculate this thing. It is 25 and I am moving it to 28, adding 3, right? Adding 3 more for the subnets. So let's calculate it. So you will get 8 subnets, right? In which you need to use only 6 subnets. So this is the IP range for first subnet, this is for second, and all. Okay. So how this subnetting works, if you guys want in detail, I can explain, but it is like not necessary for our requirement. Okay. So 3 bits will be for each subnets from the last 8 bits. These 3 bits will be constant for first subnet. Here you can see again it changed from 0001, and it remains same for all the IPs inside this particular subnets. Okay, so this is called as subnet masking. Okay, you are giving another 3 byte to the host, and you are playing just in like this 4 bytes, and you can see that it has 16 IPs, but you are getting only 14 for hosts, right? What about 2 IPs? So 2 IPs, one will be the network address. The first IP of any subnet is the IP of network, okay, which is have all host bits, whole host. Sorry, I always confuse between bit and byte. Okay, so all 4 byte, which is host byte, will be 0. That is called as network IP address. And another one is broadcast IP address, where all host byte are 1. Okay, so you will get in total 14 IP address which you can assign to your resources. Okay, so this is about subnetting. Okay, any question from this, guys? Okay, good. So this is these concepts are a bit confusing in the beginning, but later on you will definitely understand it. And from the DevOps perspective, there are so many tools available. So now we do not have to worry about these things. Okay, it will be easily. So one subnet will have 3 IP addresses. No, it will have 16 IPs, right? How 3 IPs? This is network IP, the first IP, the last IP is broadcast IP, and then you have 14 IPs that you can assign to your resources. Okay, cool, guys. Then the another concept is NAT gateway. Okay, NAT gateway. So you can have the NAT gateway. We will understand about it more tomorrow because we are running out of time. We will take questions. And yes, guys, before going for questions, I have one question for you guys. Okay. Could you please mute yourself? And we will take question in a few minutes. I'm giving a range of IP, okay, some IP, and you need to find out, or you can even explore in Google as well. So which is the valid IP address? I am giving you 4 IPs. So this is B. this is C, and this is suppose D. Okay, so anybody? Okay, you all
With the
are.
answer.
First
So,
A.
yeah. And is there anyone who has experience in networking? Who thinks that I am expert in networking or having a good years of experience in networking? Who is here? Could you please raise your hand? Is there any? Oh, Rituraj, you are from networking and you are selecting option A, right? I can see in chat. So you all are wrong. Okay, I will explain you in next session why and how. Okay. So now the time to take the questions from today's session. So we are done with the session. If anyone wants to drop, they can drop. And if you have some questions, I would take. And that should be from the today's session, guys. Please keep this in mind. Yeah.
Hello,
So
hi
I'm-
Gaurav. Sumi here.
Yes, Sumi. Mhm.
Gaurav, actually, I'm just a bit confused with a concept of resource groups that we have in Azure, right? So if we are creating multiple VNets in Azure, so what we'll do is like we will be putting this VNets in one container. That is a resource group, right? So how do we organize the resources that we are creating in AWS? Because I don't see the concept of having containers or resource group in AWS. It's quite new to me, AWS. So just wanted to get clarified on this.
So please do not compare it with Azure's resource group. That is completely different thing. Okay. In AWS we have VPC, just VNet, and inside that we create the resources. Okay. So VPC is the first unit, and inside that we can have a number of resources created.
Okay, so if we have multiple VNets, then how that will be organized in a application? It will be confusing, right? If we have different VNets and for our applications.
So you are saying that we have multiple VNets and how they will communicate to each other? That's what you mean?
No. See, in AWS we have VPCs. And for one application, we might be having different VPCs. For example, if we have different production development, so if we have these kind of environments, we will be having different VPCs for it.
Right.
So how we can organize them, like how we can put them, and how can we identify that this belongs to this particular application, this VPCs are. So that is the
Using
confusion.
tags, you can understand that with the help of tags.
Okay, so we have to specifying the VPCs for that application in a tag. So with that we can segregate.
So you can
AWS tag is the main thing.
You can have environment tag, right? You can have like this VPC has the tag env as dev, this has env as prod, this kind of stuff.
Okay, so first thing here in AWS, we will be having VPC, and under of inside of it, we'll be having the instances running inside.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So is there any other questions?
Yeah, Gaurav, why we added the +3 there? It was 25 and we make it 28. Why we added +3 there? Can you explain again?
Okay, so suppose we need 6 subnets, right? So it will be satisfied by the 2 to the power 3, which is 8, right?
Yeah.
So then, so here I can explain you. So here we are, previously it was 25. So we had 7 byte, right? 7 byte for host. Again, we want to create a subnet with this. So we are giving this 3 byte to the hosts, networks in that particular subnet. And we are doing the changes in the last 4 bytes. Okay. So this will be static throughout this particular subnet, again it will change to 001 and it will remain static in this particular subnet. Similar to this, you can see here these three are 010. Here also 011. In this case, it is 100, and that's how. And we are just playing with the last 4 byte.
Okay.
Hi,
Yeah.
Gaurav. So we created VPC, we created subnet.
Mhm.
I want to know that what these are called services, right?
Services, yes.
Okay, so I want to know that which all service that we have IP address associated with it. So I understand that only subnet has network. I mean, we create suppose 6 subnets. So all 6 subnets have network broadcast IP address associated with that, and inside one subnet we create like app server, then database, then those IP address will be taken
Yes.
from within hostmin and hostmax, right?
Yes, yes.
And those could be random and like if
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, or okay. So one last thing, like I create one database that has IP address 192.168.0.4. Okay. So now you are also creating one VPC and then subnet, then database, and you can also give the same IP address.
Right.
Now, if I though both are private, now I have to go to my network to access my database and your network to access your database.
Yes.
And how will I go to that network first, so that I have to access Gaurav's database or Rakesh's database?
So, yes, so that's you will do using the public IP. Okay, so each VPC, if you are attaching an internet gateway, so that you can expose your services to the outer world, right? So I will assign my VPC a public IP and I will give you that public IP. And if I am allowing your connection to my network, then you will be able to communicate with my network.
Okay, so those public IPs have to be unique.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So if you are like browsing google.com, right? And if google.com has an IP that is public IP,
yes,
that
yes.
IP at the same time cannot be assigned to any other website. Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
That will raise the IP conflict.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Now I got.
Okay. So is there any other question? We can wrap up this session for today.
Hi Gaurav. I mean default VPC we can use in other availability zone.
Yeah, availability zone is inside the VPC, right?
Okay, and I'm not availability zone. I'm in US West or Mumbai, so we can use that VPC default VPC in 2 places, like Mumbai region and the other region. Or
No,
is it
so
not possible?
VPC is associated with the region. Okay, so if you are creating a VPC in Mumbai, so that will be available in Mumbai region, not will be available in North Virginia region. Okay.
Okay, but default, I'm asking for default, which is provided
default.
by Amazon.
So in each region, if you will check in the console, in each region there is a default VPC, and that is limited to that region only.
Okay. Got it.
So it is a regional resource. There are some resources which are global in AWS. We will understand that. Okay. Anyway, so we can wrap up this session, right?
Yeah, hi Gaurav. What is the role of environmental variable in the server? Like what exactly it's doing?
So environment variable, if you are, suppose you have installed one application, like suppose you have installed Terraform on your system, okay? At a particular location, suppose you have created a folder like user Dashi, and in that folder you install the software, okay? And if you are running the Terraform commands from that
Okay.
particular folder, user dashi. So it is executing. But if you are going to some other folder, suppose in user dashi, you have created another folder test. And from that, not from user dashi, like in user, you have created another folder test. And from there, if you are running Terraform -- version, for example, so it is giving Terraform command not found. Okay.
Okay.
Why? Because your system, that particular location does not has the access to that Terraform application. So to provide the access to whole your from all your folders and paths in your system, we need to add that particular path where exactly the application is available in environment variable, so that you will run Terraform command from anywhere from your system, it will execute. Okay.
Okay. I mean, once we want to, we want to execute the one command in the Terraform, it will
not
go to
Terraform. It is about any application. I just
any
gave the-
application.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you are saying about the environmental variable, right? So I
In
mean,
environment variable, also I am talking about the path, because we are referencing to that only, right?
So actually, today's when we begin the class, one of the guys asking about Terraform installation, we created one environment variable for that.
Yeah.
So in that, any kind of application when we install that, like Terraform or Kubernetes, like anything, so we have to create the separate environment variable, or
Depends. Some applications gives you, while you are installing, they gives you option, do you want to set the path for this? So if you are checking that, okay, so it will by default automatically in the backend it will add into environment variable paths value. Okay, but sometimes it is not given at the time of installation, or you miss, then you need to explicitly add it into the path.
Yeah. It's actually it's a JVM is like Java virtual machine. I mean, in that we have to create the environmental variable, like right. So same thing happened in the in this, like in Terraform also, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Fine, guys.
So Gaurav, do we have any kind of shortcut available for the Terraform, or it directly works like Linux, like through the command line? So do we have any shortcut for the Windows in the Terraform?
No, it comes in the form of application. It does not have GUI, right?
Okay, it does not have GUI. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So guys, you all have to install Visual Studio Code. I hope most of you have already done, but then those who have not done, do it, and then create an AWS account so that you can practice the same thing whatever Gaurav is explaining. We all want you all to practice, not just watching videos and attending. So click on the create that AWS account and install Visual Studio Code in your machine. When I say machine, means in your laptop. Okay.
Yes, guys, and I asked one question that I need answer tomorrow, right? The valid IP address. You need to explore it and find out somehow. Okay. So I am putting that into Slack as well. Okay.
Yeah, you can put him in Slack.
Thank you, guys. You were a great audience.
Yeah.
Let's connect tomorrow.
Thank you.